Da 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 da. The fuck is this? Waiter receipt. That's late. Oh shit. Maritha Dewi Relanti wants to be my friend on Facebooks.
Who is that?
My vagina is very itchy, and I want you to lick it into your chicken in my vagina. No, that's literally what it says. No, read it. Read it out loud. No, that's literally what it says. Read it out loud. Read it out loud. I just got that notification as soon as I went live. Read it. It's obviously somebody who don't speak English too well and mistranslate the fuck out of that. But what? Read it out loud. Read it out loud. I know. Read it out loud though. Why are you clicking on a profile pic?
I'm clicking on the comments section.
Is it an Indian dude? It's an Indian dude. All right. My vagina is very itchy. Bunch of emojis, and I want you to lick it and enter your chicken in my vagina. Click here.
That's a fake account.
That's a fake. You think so? You think so? Holy shit. Okay. It's the random Facebook requests that you get from people who are obviously trying to do the cam show thing. Yeah. And I'm guessing English is their second language, and they just put in random things.
Brag about getting Facebook requests on stuff with a chick that sounds like she has some kind of STD or.
I'm not bragging about it. I'm just shocked. They're usually pretty good. You know, hey, I want to see your pee-pee. Do you want to see me naked? Here, come click this link. Yeah. I'm like, nah, that's okay. That's all right. I'm fine. I'll just go watch the, other shit. I don't know. Anyway, folks. Anyway, yeah. I want to play a video. And then we'll go to the intro. But there's a very, very malicious troll that's out there. And I think people should know about this person. This person is terrible. They stalk folks. They beat them up online, and they're just terrible. They're just terrible. And this person is so evil that they record their antics for other people, and it's absolutely distasteful. So, without further ado, I will play a very, very malicious troll and a helpless victim who needs your pity and money.
Yo, I think this is gonna fucking happen. I think this is gonna work. Oh my god, yes! Yes! Games. CSGO. Let's go! It's happening! Oh, yes.
Target acquired.
Okay, is there a way? Could I possibly? There's too many CTs, no!
Oh, my channel's very small. Oh, I don't know, like, it's like 12,000 subs.
What's it about?
We do conversations with people with PhDs and talk about biology, physics, anti-flat earth.
Definitions and stuff. Use mic. Okay.
Nice.
Oh, man.
Alright, I'm back.
Welcome back. Yeah, your mic's working.
Turns out when you switch mics, you have to restart CSGO, which is kind of dumb.
I'm probably gonna end
That's
this.
not true. You just gotta change. You just change your mic and change it back to the one you want to go to.
Alright, I'm probably
There's
gonna
an
take off,
option
guys.
for that in CSGO.
Oh wait, but in that great debate community, do you guys talk about definitions at all? Like the definition of atheism, potentially?
Probably like every 5 sentences.
Probably.
Review.
Meme review.
And do you guys talk about how?
Let's show them who we are.
Alright. Anyways, we're gonna end this stream, so this was fun.
Probably.
Review.
Meme review.
And do you guys talk about how the Talmud says only Gentiles are slaves?
No, dude, that's malicious. I don't condone that at all. Hey! That's what I call malicious, am I right? Ayo!
How am I the big fish in this game? I don't like this.
No, you're not a fish, and you're not a pawn, you're a king in this game, my dude.
Oh, they're quitting.
Oh, they quit?
Yeah, they quit.
Oh no, that's unfortunate. That's exceptionally unfortunate. That makes me very sad that they left. Well, in that case, I think I'm gonna head out. Y'all have a wonderful evening, okay?
Good night.
Good night, guys. Mission accomplished, motherfucker.
Yeah, I'm gonna get you guys.
Wow, that's terrible. Absolutely terrible. That folks, is a crime against humanity. Did you see the sadness? Someone killed him in CSGO and inquired about his humble brag from earlier. That cannot stand. We must launch a campaign against such people. And hopefully, with enough public pressure from Twitter and other forms of social media, this injustice can be corrected. This will not stand. I, being the man that I am, will lead the charge to stopping these types of transgressions. I hereby pledge my fealty to the king. I will avenge his honor and his broken glasses. We cannot stand idly by as men from Florida take over this online landscape. Yes, I said lambscape, like lamb chops. This is terrible. Terrible. Anyway, let me roll the intro. We got some Deroy crews to get into. Shout out to some Patreons, pay pigs, benefactors. You all supply me with money to take the wife out to eat. And money for fishing. Don't think I forgot about G-Man. Oh man, oh man, oh man. So I wake up every morning now wondering if Deroy is still subscribed to me, which I had to describe to the wife because we had to make a morning run to our respective places of coffee, Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks. You can probably figure out who likes which. And I talked to her about kind of what happens to YouTubers when they get stuck. There's a weird thing that happens, and those of you who've been around YouTube probably more than 3 or 4 years, you've seen this happen, or it's happened to you, where you start on YouTube and you're just kind of doing stuff, you're expressing your opinion, and all of a sudden you get attention. And not just attention, you get negative attention. And this negative attention may or may not kind of scratch at the surface of some issues you may have going on with yourself. Thank you, Robert Blair. Check out Cruise for Christ. What the fuck is that? Cruise for Christ. Is that his other channel? Is that what that is? Oh Lord. Okay. Somebody remind me to do that later. But I was telling her, I was like, a lot of guys, and it doesn't matter where your ideological whatever is, they get stuck and it becomes a kind of a toxic thing. I know that word is cliche now, but you log on and you're like, man, these notifications, am I going to get all these bad comments, or they thumb down and all that kind of stuff and everything and whatnot. And so it's something that you can't help, even though you know it's not healthy, even though you know that you're going to see something bad or someone saying something you don't want to hear. You keep going back to it. And there's a few YouTubers I remember. One of them's a jackass and just made up shit about me. But I mean, how's that new? He even described having anxiety attacks from logging on to Google Plus because of just the negative feedback that he was getting from something he felt righteous about. Now, mind you, this person has kind of a loose relationship with reality when their bias kicks in, but it's something that happens to a lot of people, and that's probably what Mr. Cruz is going on. I empathize with him. I absolutely empathize with him on that, believe it or not. I probably scratched the surface of a few issues that he had that he thought nobody could pick up on, but it's kind of clear when you reference homoerotic things in every video that there's something going on there. Rest in peace, headphone users. So, he's probably taking a break. He won't actually unsubscribe from me and disable that notification. That won't happen. Well, Drag, how do you know that? Well, he wouldn't have deleted 8 months worth of videos after he stopped responding if he had just unsubscribed. He has the freedom to do that. I don't control that at all. I don't control the fact that G-Man is still subscribed to me. Now, you have to really wonder something, folks. You have to really, really, really wonder something. If these people find me just so abhorrent, they just can't stand me, they are so averse to everything that I say and do, why are they still subscribed to me? They can completely remove themselves from seeing anything from me. It's very, YouTube makes it very possible to do that, but they don't, because they're addicted to it. They're addicted to the attention that they get. It's the attention that they don't get in real life. I don't care. I actually get plenty of attention in real life, and I do this shit for fun because it amuses me. And so it is awesome. It is awesome to know that there are people who are stuck here. They're stuck in this online realm, and they have no choice but to dig deeper and to dig their heels in, even when it's quite obvious that they should probably disconnect for quite some time and just take a hiatus. If you've known me for any number of years, there's periods of time where I'll just take a 3-4 month hiatus and I'll just leave. And that's something for me, because it's like, you know what, I'm getting a little bit too entrenched into this. You know what, I'm not in the midst of any drama, or even if I am, it's like, you know what, fuck this, I got better stuff to do. Just like yesterday, I went out and caught a fucking stingray. That's fun to me, waking up at 7:30 and heading out, driving about half an hour with the wife, and just fishing, just sitting out there, looking at the water, feeling the nice sun and the cool breeze, and looking at the Galveston Bay. That's awesome to me. That's better than this. Sorry, folks. That's better. Spending time with my wife. That's awesome. But not everyone has that option. So anyway, I just wanted to preach a little bit from the school of Dragnauct. Anyway, I have already sped him up. I probably won't torture you guys with listening to him at regular speed. I'm sorry. It's bad. It's bad when you can punish people by making them listen to him at normal speed. What do you hate about this particular YouTuber? He makes us listen to the review videos at regular speed. What? That's a punishment. Like, that's so crazy. But yeah, that's a thing now. That's the thing. I'm glad you had a good time. Yeah, I try to, because you need to do something other than be online on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and social media. Like, you need to disconnect from that shit sometimes. Like, it is not healthy to have social media be your identity. I've seen it time and time again, and I know too many people who their online persona becomes who they are. They get caught up in how many subscribers and likes and shit, and because they talk to PhDs. I do that every day. It's really not that special. It's really not. But when those PhDs invite you out to eat dinner with their wives and families, and they want you next to them in promotional videos and up on billboards, that's kind of special. But we won't talk about that. We don't talk about that. People need whatever boost in their lives that they can get. If your goals are a bit more loftier than others, and hey, you know what? Success is measured by your ability to look into the future, or let me not be petty. So anyway, folks, let's see what Mr. Cruz has to say. Because in the first video, and it's like 20 minutes in, I've just been talking. The first video that I did yesterday, Mrs. D did not catch that fucking stingray. The first video, we heard Mr. Cruz talk about intolerance. And it was weird because it was like within the first 15 minutes, he began to talk about atheism as a concept being intolerable, as opposed to what the title says about atheists as people being intolerant, which I agree with. There are actually quite a few intolerant atheists. I've met them. Now, he then went on this weird little tirade where he does the same thing he does in every video. You see this overlap in his mind where it's not atheists, they're liberal atheists, because evidently all atheists are liberal now. They're all Democrats. And so then came the rhetoric from the political angle, and then we sort of kind of segued into another topic that had to do with his ire towards homosexuals, and we circled back around. It was a fucking mess. It's a fucking mess. Okay? It's a fucking mess. So hopefully in this video, we can actually get to the point, because he spent more time talking about politics and homoerotic shit than anything else. He spoke a little bit about some person who did something, an extremist in any philosophy and any ideology that do crazy things because they really, really believe what they believe. That's a non-contentious point. Everyone will agree with that. It doesn't matter if like how peaceful you think you are. If you take your peaceful ideology, I'm just going to use that word, to the extreme, bad stuff's going to happen. Literally no one disagrees with that. So maybe we'll get something that's worth talking about. I have no idea. If y'all gamble away all your fucking points, I'm not going to help you. I'm not going to help you. You can do, but before I actually hit the play button, I told you guys I was going to give you guys the commands. Exclamation point heist space a number begins a heist. You need several people to then do the very same thing. Exclamation point heist space a number, and then a few of you can go on a heist to get more points. You get points every 5 minutes. I did change this. People who are active in the chat get a point boost. I'm not going to tell you how much. Those of you who love super chatting and shit like that, I boosted the fuck out of those points just so y'all get something for more bang for your buck. I know y'all are doing that to feed Mrs. Dragnauct, but I did rig the system so that people who actually do that will actually get, like, I think it's like 50 points per dollar or some shit like that. It may be 150 or 50 points, something like that. So I did rig it. So if you want like Loken and Angry Roach, if I check right now, y'all probably have a lot of points. So, but that doesn't mean that y'all should do that. This is not those Facebook games that we used to play back when Facebook was, what was that, Zanga? Those Zanga games where you just do shit like that. No. Communicate in the chat, comment, be active in the chat, you'll get points. And then every so often, at around 45 minutes in, I'll grant folks points. Everybody like 50 points. I did it last time. So anyway, let's begin.
Deroy Cruz here, your life applications officer. I feel good. I don't even know if I should be making this video. I don't know if I want to call this part 2 of the video that I just did about atheism being intolerable. I don't know what I want to call this, but I was thinking today, I was talking to a Jehovah's Witness friend of mine. And, you know, him and I, we don't agree on things. And, but we laugh it off. You know what I'm saying? You know, at the end of the day, he understands that he's a Jehovah's Witness and I'm Christian. And what's not being said is that as a Jehovah's Witness, you think that you're better than most Christians. You think that you're correcting the mistakes and the errors of the church. You think you're a better Christian by becoming a Jehovah's Witness. But a Mormon, not only do they feel or think that they are better than all of us, but they are treated better than all of us. They have more property and so forth and so on than the rest of us do. They have more to offer and more to give and more, you know, interjection into their religion from different sources and so on. And one thing that we all will agree on, the Christian, the Catholic, the Jehovah's Witness, the Mormon, even the Muslim, one thing that we all will agree on is that in the end we shall know who is the true family of God. We will know who God has really picked. There's a scripture in the Bible that talks about who's going to be the greatest in the kingdom of God. And the moral of the story is the one with the most servitude, the one with the most serviceship, the servant, the meek, the humble one, the one that's always learning and always humbling himself to learn more. These will be
This is 1.5 times speed, by the way.
They never come to that place to where they feel that they've arrived, that you can't get any other knowledge in there, or that they can never be wrong about anything. But when it comes to these atheists, I'm going to say it again. And this is where I put the whole argument of what I believe compared to what an atheist believes in file 13. I don't really care to argue, as I say all the time. You need to get this in your thick skull when you come to my channel. I'm not an apologist. I don't owe you that kind of explanation. That'd be like me trying to explain to you why I'm black and I live in the United States. I'm going to just tell you, you got a problem with me living in the United States. Maybe you belong on the other side of the wall.
Okay, so hold on for a second. So I love this comparison. So let's get something straight. If you, Mr. Cruz, feel, I guess, I don't know where to begin with that, because it's just, you're comparing being black to being a Christian? Really? Okay. Let me touch on that in a minute, because that's fucking stupid. But, so let me get this straight, Mr. Cruz. You have the audacity to get on YouTube and indignant at that. Become indignant by shit that you watch from other YouTube channels. And then, because there's quite a few videos I've seen where you've specifically addressed people, Cosmic Skeptic to be one just off the top of my head, but don't nobody dare come to your channel with that nonsense. You got the audacity to say some shit like that. I don't get it. I don't understand that. You can go and criticize other folks. You can go and question other folks. You can go and put their name, even in the video. Reference Arm Raw Matt Dillahunty, even. But nobody better come to your channel because you don't have anything to say to them. I love it. I love it. This slack-jawed look of yours is exactly what my mind feels right now, hearing some stupid shit like that. On the other point of, that's like someone coming up to you, ask you why you black and why you live in the United States. I'm pretty sure people know that your mama black and your daddy probably black. Nobody had to question at any point in time. Why are you in the United States? Well, ha 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 ha. There's a reason all of us with this particular skin affliction is here. That's something that a lot of us can kind of presume. Just so your chosen religious affiliation ain't got shit to do with you being born black. Nothing at all. Okay? Nothing. Let's not. That's such a shitty comparison. Just stop it. Okay? Stop it. You sound dumb. PlayStation, I ain't talking to you. I don't know why it just activates like that. Cut him some slack. The left side of his face is melting. It looks like it. Or maybe he's just sucking off Casper. I don't know what's going on with that, but yeah.
I'm going to tell you, learn your own daggone history. And it's the same thing here. Like I was listening today to Deflating Atheism. You know the guy. And he really does a good job of deflating you. And the video that he did today was a video.
Are you taking cues from Deflating Atheism? That dude was running from me. Well, then again, a lot of people do. But since I have yet to see Deflating Atheist make a point where he wasn't sucking off Dean Esme. For one. Two, when you actually identify like the central thesis of what Deflating Atheist says, I don't like atheists because I think what they say are think that the things that they say are stupid. They're stupid. That's literally the thesis of every Deflating Atheist video. Me and Sam were doing reviews of it because he looked like a fucking 70s summer fucking horror villain. Like, come on. 90% of videos is him holding his chin like this. Yeah, they're stupid atheists. Please describe to me what cogent points Deflating Atheist of all people was able to make it in whatever video. I really don't care. I really don't care which one. Because he's got to be the least reputable motherfuckers out there as far as an apologist. But he's not an apologist either. So what exactly is referencing him going to do? Because if you think that he can talk the talk and he's, I guess, a better apologist or non-apologist than you, I would love to sit down and talk to Deflating Atheist. I've actually sought him out. He didn't want none. That's fine. That's fine. Perfectly fine. Him and Matt Powell. They don't want none either. Okay. Y'all sitting here sucking each other off. You have the opportunity to demonstrate whatever it is that you think stupid atheists like myself say, then you know what? Hey, I will grant you that opportunity. But don't sit up here and say that you think people are being intolerant. Like there's this air of intolerance, because why would we seek a dialogue if I was intolerant? That's something really interesting that I see. You and quite a few other people do that. Oh, these non-believers, they're so intolerant. I feel so persecuted, but I'm not a victim. But I'm so, oh my God, I'm a martyr. Oh my God. Don't come to my channel because I have nothing to say to you. Really? That sounds like intolerance, sir. That sounds like you are a bit averse. That's interesting.
Was him giving his 2 cents on a video that I just watched. I was very nice. I thought that the atheist did a good job. You know, but after Deflating Atheist deflated him, I realized, yeah, that he was being a moron, and an oxy one at that, because he tried to, like, tell people how to let Christians alone and let them have their faith. But yet, he kept saying, let us have our delusion. It is a delusion to think that you can keep on hurting people in a town where there are no police. And you think you're going to keep getting away with it.
What the fuck? What are with these comparisons?
It is a delusion to think that you are better than your own parents. You're better than your teachers. You're better than...
What?
The people that are...
Is anybody else not getting these analogies? Like, these weird analogies that he comes up with are just weird.
Are signing your paycheck and helping you to have the lifestyle that you want. Now, I don't believe in Al Sharpton, but I watched a video today where Al Sharpton was arguing with, well, he had a debate.
Fuck this got to do with Sharpton?
May God rest his soul in peace. But I never seen this footage of Al Sharpton with his everything is about white supremacy self. I never expected him to do anything other than talk about racism and so-called white supremacy.
Oh man, that's like me expecting you not to bring up some gay shit in every video. I guess we'll be all surprised when you stop doing that. Shit, like what? Didn't I say, folks, at the beginning of this video? Didn't I say something about, I'm not talking to you. Go back. Stop. Cease. Back. Shit. At the beginning of this video, he meanders in between the topic that he thinks he wants to talk about and then politics and fucking social issue. Like, we're not even 10 minutes in and he's already doing it. Like, what the fuck does this got to do with Sharpton at all?
But in this video, he put Christopher Hitchens in his place. He told Christopher Hitchens, he says, you're an atheist because you don't believe in God. What does that got to do with all these people that supposedly did all this wrong? Okay? Well, all these cops are constantly shooting people. That doesn't mean we should get rid of the police force now, does it? Okay? All these children out of wedlock. That doesn't mean we should kill them all. Okay? And he just went on and on and on and on. He says, you keep telling me about all these people that I don't know and what they did wrong, and that somehow is supposed to debunk my belief in God. You just wasted a whole debate. He told him.
I think I know the exchange that they're talking about. If y'all did not see the Christopher Hitchens and Al Sharpton, there's actually quite a few other people on the panel as well. I love Sharpton's ability to disassociate himself with unscrupulous individuals while also indicting large swaths of people in what he sees as a systemic issue. That's a very interesting thing, Mr. Sharpton. If you don't know, I'm not a huge fan of Sharpton for obvious reasons. Him and Mr. Cruz both like to generalize. So I love these analogies. So let's look at something here. A police force. Let's say they suffer from a systemic issue of racial sorts. Okay. Not beyond reproach. They can be replaced. They can be fired, suspended, disciplined. When you are talking about a system of belief that is beyond reproach, this is a non-contentious issue, sir, because they are completely fucking different. I'm sorry. If you are trying to tell me, because there's a huge difference between people having an issue with an organization and then certain sections of that organization have some issues, but they can be disciplined. They can be addressed. It's a bit different from you having a system, an ideology, where you are prescribing this to other people, to literally, because no one's forced, or no one's being I should say influenced to join the police force and then also commit some of these heinous acts. But you do have an organization of sorts that you want people to change their lives and adopt an ideology that in a lot of ways is detrimental, or can be detrimental, I should say, to the lives of people, certain LGBTAQ+, for instance. Quite a bit of difference there. And I think some of the nuances that you tend to miss with that is that it's easy for you just to stigmatize folks because you disagree with them. And it's easy for you to group them together even though the differences in these different sections just so happen to get overlooked. They draw your ire, and that's really the only thing that connects them. My God. Just foolery.
He said, I'm waiting for you to get to the point of where we begin to really, really, really worry about God, or debunk God, so to speak. I think it's more easier to debunk the physical than it is to debunk the unseen. Because the unseen is powerful.
Frank, that video you just sent me, I'm going to have some fun with that video, Frank. I'm going to watch that video. And then I'm going to review that video next, because I think I see where that video's going. So, one of the nice gentlemen from the Geek Room just sent me a video from Mr. Cruz's other account. And I liked the title, and I was just listening to it just for a little bit. You guys can't hear it. But there's a whole different paradigm that Mr. Cruz is also operating under, that I'm going to love to death. Oh, I'm going to enjoy this quite a bit. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned. Oh, he has another. Feel free to link that other account.
If your doctor tells you you're going to die and you don't die, you don't turn around and give science and medicine, credit for it. The same doctor that gave him medicine, said he's going to die, and he didn't die. He went into remission. He got a third chance. Okay? If a cop that everybody knows is a racist cop decides that today he's going to have mercy on this little black thug, well, obviously, there's more about mercy going on here than this racist cop. Why did he have mercy on this black guy that is clearly a thug, but he killed the other ones, or he arrested them, or he went to court to make sure the charges stick? But he had mercy on this one. There's something moving in the background there, and it's not science. There's something moving in the background there. When you have a chance to be with someone when you've already sat down and talked about it and you made up your mind that you're going to have a divorce, you're going to go through a divorce, and as many women as you done broke up with, and they just walked off and walked out of your life like it was nothing, and you turned your back on them like it was nothing. But this time, as much of a witch as this woman has been in your life, somehow she forgave you. Somehow she gave you another chance, and she wanted you to give her another chance. And things magically started working out, even though you didn't feel any love for each other. Things just started magically working out, falling into place. You found out that maybe you do want to stay together. Maybe there's something between us. You're trying to figure out what you did right this time that you didn't do before. There's something moving in the background. It ain't science. There's something moving in the background, and it ain't just progression, as you call it. Natural progression. There's no processors here. There's something moving in the background that is above and beyond your control. I'm going to say it again. Without Christians,
what the fuck does this have to do with anything? Like, I'm just, okay. So hold on for a second, Mr. Cruz. I love this. There's something moving in the background because, against people's better judgment, they decide to express empathy upon another human being. I am so shocked. I am shooketh that at certain points in time in a person's life, they express empathy upon another person against their better judgment. Holy shit. Mind blown. The existence of empathy, therefore Jesus. That has got to be stupider than stupid. Not as stupid as the what is it, the King of Europe? No, the Muslim president of Europe. Almost. You're getting close. But no. Yes, Mr. Cruz. Even some of the most basic of creatures that walk this earth or crawl can express empathy upon another creature. Oh my God. It's something in the background. Yes. It's not science. No, it's literally millions of years of evolution. Say, maybe if I cooperate with the other entity that exists around me in my environment that might help my survival. Kind of one of those rudimentary things that it's somewhat ingrained in creatures. That's why there's not too many creatures out there that will just murder literally everything around it. There's a few. There's quite a few. But generally, the most basal traits in any creature you'll find is, let me find shelter. Let me feed myself. Let me mate. Let me defend myself or hide. Very, very basic traits. Another one of those traits, you could say maybe a secondary survival trait, is some form of symbiosis with another creature, whether it's like it or not. Even the most aggressive creatures can form a symbiosis. Man, you would think that in order to survive, some of these traits would come into play. And that over time, these traits would become ingrained in each successive generation. It's not a shock that when you work together as a group, you can accomplish tasks that you can't accomplish alone. So part of one of maybe the things that kind of keeps that whole group dynamic going is empathy, altruism. Just it's not a stretch of the imagination by any means. It's not anything crazy or far-fetched. Yes, humans, being the apex creatures that we are, can express empathy. Even the most dastardly of us can express empathy. You could even say that we were born with it to some degree.
There are no atheists. Okay? You don't, and Al Sharpton said this too. He says, you don't take somebody else's light and wait for them to turn the light on so you can talk about how dim it is. It was pitch black before you found somebody with a light switch. And then they hit the light switch and you say, man, it's dim in here. And you go to complain about how dim it is. If it wasn't for the person that turned on the light switch, it wouldn't have had any light at all. So you can sit there and say, oh, well, Christians, well, this is what's wrong with Christianity. But if it wasn't for, and they mentioned this on Deflating Atheism today, if it wasn't, and there was a guy, a country western dude, that I watched the video also today on YouTube, and that's all I do, is I just talk about what I see on YouTube. Outside of YouTube, people don't come to me with this garbage. But anyway, I love YouTube. But anyway, this preacher
said, so when I criticized him for getting all his information from YouTube, there you go. I was dead on the fucking money. Dead on the fucking money. Most of his information comes from YouTube. That should tell you something.
Today that all you got to do is look at the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and all the writings and the leadership of the Founding Fathers. And you'll see that if this has never been a Christian nation, they sure in hell was trying to make it a Christian nation.
Wow! What? Nate, please tell me you're watching. Nate. Nate, are you watching? I could have sworn, Nate, that you teach constitutional law, if I am not motherfucking mistaken. Something tells me he has not actually read a piece of any constitution, of any amendment, anywhere at any point in fucking time. Literally in the fabric of this country, it is written so that no one religion is dominant. That's why we're not a fucking theocracy. I'm not sure how you can have you're on the one hand, Mr. Cruz, we got people have the freedom of religion to practice whatever they want, but you're saying that this is in the Constitution. Now you're implying that because some of the folks were Christian, yes, some of them were, but this was also during the Enlightenment period, so there's a caveat with that. But man, oh man, oh fucking man, that whole separation of church and state, none of that exists in no way, shape, or form. I mean, you could even say that some of the people who came here from good old England said, you know what? Having a state church or state religion. We're kind of not a big fan of that. Let's go to another place where, you know, we can set up something. We'll set up a little experiment and see if we don't cater to one religion and just kind of let people do what the fuck they want. Maybe that might work out better. Maybe some of this persecution from these schisms that are happening, you know, maybe we can escape that. But man, you have to really wonder, at what point did the education system fail Mr. Cruz? Because this is fucking sad. This is sad that he does not know this. No one's going to deny that there were Christians and many, there were Quakers, you know, hell, there were Catholics that had an influence in what became America, what it is now. But there are also men of the Enlightenment period, and I'll stop there, that had a great influence who said, no, we're not going to make a Catholic nation. No, we're not going to make a Protestant nation. No, we're not going to, no. We're not going to repeat the same mistake from the place we fucking came from. We're not going to do that. That kind of defeats the purpose of moving. So, my God, Mr. Cruz, literally every topic that you speak on, you show us how little you actually know. It is amazing. But this is what happens when you're YouTube educated. This is what happens when you don't actually read anything. Like, it is shocking just how it's always the guys who have like these really strong opinions about shit who don't know anything about the topic. Literally, I would love to know how much of the Constitution he's actually, and I remember having to read like huge swaths of it back when I was in fucking school. But even then, even if you didn't have one of those schools who stressed that, if you just knew a little bit about the formation of the fucking country, you could surmise that, well, hold on, since we don't live in a theocracy, then, well, why would people say that? Well, okay, well, most of the population is Christian. That's a different point. If you were saying that it's a Christian nation because of demographics, that's a completely different point than saying the fabric of what defines your country, its constitution, its founding documents, are inherently and openly, overtly religious in nature. That's a completely different point. So if he's making the former point, okay, I'll concede to that. But it sounds like the latter point is what he is trying to insist here. Again, I keep referencing that men of the Enlightenment period helped define what this country is and wrote it into the fabric of the country. But I don't have to say that. Some of y'all have passed 10th grade fucking history class, so my God.
Most of the people that put this country together were Christian. Or they thought that they was Christian. Or they was trying to be Christian. Okay? Or
they were Christian. Or they thought that they were Christian. Or they were trying to be Christian. Which is one of them. It's somewhat, they were somewhat kind of sort of associated with Christians. Oh my God. So if they were a Christian light, then it's a Christian nation. They didn't so it's fine. They didn't actually write a theocracy into the fabric. No. They weren't Christian dominionists like fucking Ted Cruz. No, but for some reason they wrote into the fabric of the nation a separation of church and state amongst other standards that we now know to avoid the very thing a lot of them wanted to escape in England. That makes no fucking sense. That defeats the purpose of fleeing from persecution from whence you came. Again, most of y'all passed 10th grade fucking U.S. history, so I'm preaching to the choir.
They had a code of Christianity of some sort or something. Whatever that was, they wasn't atheists. Okay? And without Christians, there are no atheists. I wouldn't even say that atheists are more concerned about religion or even concerned about religion on the same level they're worried about Christians. And I do believe some of y'all have been deceived by lies about what it's all about. But some of y'all know the truth. And you insist upon acting out as a skeptic when you can see between the lines very clearly. But anyway, without Christians, there are no atheists. So how is atheism tolerable at all? When without Christians, there would be no atheists. Nobody becomes an atheist without somebody else being the opposite, which would be believing in God. The only way you can say that you're an atheist is if the person sitting across from you is a Christian. That's the only way you can be an atheist.
Okay, I love this point that he keeps reiterating. And I think it kind of goes without saying that it is, and anyone who knows non-stamp collector knows how silly this point is. Yes, it is a weird label to be not something, absolutely. But if you're actually curious about the etymology of the word atheist, it's actually something that the Christians came up with, if I'm not mistaken, to describe people who didn't actually hold their religious beliefs. So, but we're also kind of forgetting there exist numerous religions out there that one can also disbelieve. But evidently, Mr. Cruz is only aware of one in this particular point in time. So that's odd, but okay, we'll go with that.
If the person sitting across from you is agnostic, he's just a guy, he's just agnostic. Your atheism doesn't have a reason to expose itself. There's nowhere to let it out. So, I really don't care to go back and forth with you about your theology versus mine. But the Bible says, if the light that is in you be dark, how great is that darkness? And I've already read to you in other videos where the Bible says, blind that are leading the blind, leave them alone. They will fall in their own ditch because of their blindness. The words of Jesus. And there's so many things in the Bible that are laughable coming out of the mouth of atheists. It's like me trying to speak Chinese or Japanese and getting into an argument with Japanese people or Chinese people using their native tongue. It's laughable because you don't know what you're talking about. You don't. And it's beyond me that how the heck does every atheist read the Bible that they don't believe in? You don't believe in the Bible.
So folks, if you don't accept what's in the book as fact, you can't read it. That's something new to me. So I'm guessing he doesn't read fiction at any point in time. Well, then again, I'm surprised if he actually does read. But that is interesting. That is very interesting. And actually, thank you, Dynacat. Yeah, it's the Christian didn't come up with it. It's Greek. So it's interesting that you can't, because here's let's just look at it this way. If you are, I love this word, if you're a bibliophile, why not read the Bible? Why read fiction? If this is the point that you're making, it's you have to accept everything as fact because you've read it in the book, then there's literally no point of reading there. Why is there a category called fiction to begin with? One. Secondly, if you're just a bibliophile and you love anthologies, especially some of the older ones, especially religious texts, because it has mysticism and it incorporates a lot of themes from various, cultures and time periods. Just because the things that make you a bibliophile would attract you to the Bible. Again, because it's an anthology that's been compiled from Greek, Koine Greek, Aramaic, Hebrew, all that shit. So, if you're an academic and you just love reading because that's a part of the academics that you do, world religions, history, literature, whatever. If you're just an academic in any of those fields, and some of them there's a lot of crossover, whatever. Why not read the Bible? You don't have to accept what's in it, but that's just in your wheelhouse. Like, so the fact that you don't get that does not surprise me. What surprises me is that you make up a title for yourself and then want to put yourself in the place of a teacher, practitioner of the pedagogical arts even. And you want to tell people how they're supposed to think and live their life. That's what I find crazy. If you want to be as ignorant as you want to, that's on you, man. I just laugh at you. But that's what gets me. The fact that you think for a second that people should emulate you is what I want to know. Please help me understand that. Because it was my understanding that if you're going to teach someone, you have to be a bit more learned than they are. That kind of defeats the purpose of teaching. What do you have to teach if you are more ignorant than the people that you're talking to? Typical man, ignore the woman who said Christians were called atheists. Notice, man. Oh, I didn't even see you, D. I'm dead serious. I did not see you. Y'all need to tag me because I do skip over people if they're not tagging me. There's a lot going on.
Okay? But you own a Bible. Like Hitchens said today, he says, oh, you'll have to excuse me. I read the Bible a lot. You read the Bible a lot for the sake of arguing with Christians. Obviously, you have an agenda. Because
wasn't Hitchens a bibliophile? It's someone I like listening to Hitchens debates and stuff back when I was like years ago when I was younger. But one of the things that I remember about Hitchens at the time when he was alive was that he had perfect recall or it's eidetic memory, I think it's called, something like that, or that was one of his traits, and he was a bibliophile. So of course he would read the Bible. I mean, I'm not. Why is that strange? And then kind of given his area, like journalism and shit. I mean, that's knowing under and then going to different places around the world, understanding the culture and the religions would kind of help him do his job. So I don't. Why is any of that strange?
It's not good enough that Abraham was stopped from killing his son. Okay? Now, I admit, if Abraham had killed his son, I'd have always been like, but that wouldn't necessarily make me become anti-Christian. The fact is, Abraham didn't kill his son. But he did kill other people. United States has killed other people. And the only reason why you would cry about that is to get the Democratic vote. But you know that when you kill somebody 9 out of 10 that ain't white, you take down a brown-skinned nation or a whole half of a brown-skinned nation, these white behind atheists do not care about no frickin' Muslims or some frickin' Arabs in the Middle East. They don't care about no Africans or no Ethiopians or no people from Egypt. All you care about is yourself. And you're so insecure in yourself, like somebody I know that I work with, that you need to make an enemy for yourself. And what are you defending? What are you fighting about? What is your agenda?
Does anybody else get the feeling that these videos aren't for who you think they're for? Does anybody else think that this is kind of like just catharsis for kind of what he wants to say to some of his coworkers and people in his life? Does anybody else kind of get that feeling now? Because it's starting to, like, it was weird. It was weird how he would make these videos, and it seemed like he was addressing a large audience, and then it would meander into politics and social issues, and then it would get oddly personal. And they would be direct anecdotes from his personal life. and then identifying specific people in his life. Like, that seems to be the natural progression, because I think that's sort of kind of what's going on right now. Like, there's something going on, folks. There's something going on. There's some getting bored of, I don't know. You ain't the only one. Oh, don't worry. I see our friend Little Gary made a video on GTV. We're gonna get to that. Probably not today. Maybe not today. We're gonna get to his.
And what do I see? You fighting for things that are naturally immoral. And when we say they're immoral, we're not lacking sympathy for the fact that you can't help yourself. But some things you just don't do. You see yourself going there. You turn around, as me and my Jehovah's Witness friend were saying tonight, some places you just don't go. Just like if I felt like committing suicide. Now, Christopher Hitchens made a statement tonight in this video that I watched. It was published in 2016 with Al Sharpton. He made a statement tonight that at least in Korea, you can kill yourself if you want to. You're free to do that. But Christians are such hypocrites. They don't want to kill themselves. That might be because Jesus already did it for us. But then again, I'm like Al Sharpton on that. Like, what does that have to do with the price of tea in China? Okay? We should just aimlessly kill ourselves for nothing. Like you abort children every day? Yeah, I understand your religion. I understand it perfectly. We should just aimlessly kill ourselves.
All atheists are pro-abortion, by the way. Hi, Sokka. How you doing?
For every little imperfect thing that happens in our life. But Christopher Hitchens didn't kill himself either before he died. He made sure God took him out of here by an act of cancer. Okay, so blow it out of your butt, Christopher Hitchens. I don't know what you're talking about. Let me in on a secret, because you ain't ripped me or punished me or gave me a piece of your mind or nothing by making that statement. I'm still trying to figure it out. I think that, and this is where I'm so happy.
Doesn't he look happy, folks? This is the face of happiness right now. He's so happy. I believe he is just elated.
I think sometimes you're just better. I've said this already in several other videos. Sometimes you're just
what? Oh, hold on. So, not even close to what Hitch said. Okay, I have no idea the actual quote. He doesn't actually provide any much of any context to what he's referring to. I think I've seen that discussion, but that was years ago, where Sharpton was on stage with Hitchens and they were discussing something. But I could only listen to Sharpton for so long until I start to feel the need to shit myself. But if you have the actual quote, I will read off. Excuse me. But my God, I am not surprised that he would strawman Hitchens, even in I can't call them that, even in the videos where he would identify me, but reference me, but not name me, where he was talking about me, where he wasn't talking about me. That whole thing. Grossly misrepresent what I've said. And just take it out of context. Every single time. And then I would ask him, I'd say, look, here's what I said. Here's the context in which I mentioned this. Give me receipts. What's the timestamp where I said that in the context that you are presenting it? So please let me know. Hitch said that the servile life in North Korea will come to an end eventually through your death, not your suicide. But the servile hell of life in heaven has to end. That seems like a fairly nuanced point, which sounds like Hitch. With all that nuance and context and everything and whatnot. It doesn't surprise me that went right over Mr. Cruz's head. Has no end. Yeah, no, I got what you're saying, Hawkeye. Because the actual hell is to be a servant of God forever. Yeah. So that's the interesting thing. And people can debate whether that's actually hell or not, and I've I've mentioned a point like that myself, probably because listen to Hitch, about sucking God's metaphorical dick forever. So, to which Bible thumping wingnut did not appreciate that back in my early days. But that's a more nuanced point, which he's free to disagree with. But hold on, screenshot. Let me get that. Awesome. Okay, I had to get that screenshot. So,
and there's no way around you being anything but better than those who make it their decision to become your opponent. Like some guy I work with, I'm an opponent now. I'm just for me to show up for work on his shift. Like, my shift ever changes. My shift is always one or the other. But he's just gotta, he has created this religious attitude towards me to where he has to try and act like just by me being myself, I'm doing something wrong. I'm doing something wrong because you can't find nothing wrong with me. I'm doing something wrong because I don't need you to tell me how to do my job. Most of all, I'm in management in my department. You're on the bottom level as an officer, even though you're on a higher level than me. In your department, in your field, you're on the bottom. In my department, even though I make less money than you, in my department, I'm on a higher level. I wear a white shirt. Okay?
This has gotten oddly personal. This is... So now it's starting to make sense now. Okay. It's starting to make sense. Hear me out. Hear me out, folks. I think I see what's going on now. This isn't about anything that he's watched on YouTube. This isn't about his conception of an atheist or atheism that he switches back and forth between, the concept versus the people. This is his way of addressing a coworker that he has had trouble with. There was some incidents, or it's a series of incidents, encounters that he has had with some white atheists in some other department, and they've had words on more than one occasion, I'm willing to bet. And so in order for him to make sense of what he has experienced, he goes to YouTube to try and understand what's going on. I'm willing to bet money that whoever this person is mentioned Hitchens at some point. He goes to YouTube to search for Hitchens and comes across the Al Sharpton discussion, debate, whatever you want to call it, that they had, that I've seen in the past. Then he makes this video. I'm willing to bet money that was a series of events. Because now it's not about atheists. This is why my coworker, whom I feel insecure about, has become a thorn in my side. And I am going to characterize his criticisms as part of an ongoing effort by a larger group of people to persecute me. They are intolerant. There we go. Video title. Thesis. I'm willing to bet money that's what happened. Because now it's starting to make more sense. Dragnauct became an atheist in 96. That's seeing how fine Christians in Bosnia did the Muslims and other ethnicities there. Oh, you mean the genocide that wasn't genocide? Yeah, I learned a bit about that from some resident Bosnians. Yeah, I'd heard about that, but yeah, that was an interesting event. Oh, thank you, Les Nagy, for donating 20 Australian dollars, whatever those are called. Ducats, we'll call them ducats. Here's the issue. I fully accept that this is cathartic for him. Fully accept that. You know what? YouTube is an outlet for many people. Absolutely. And I think that to some degree, I think that to some degree that a lot of people use YouTube for therapeutic purposes and social media in general. Nothing inherently wrong with that. The issue is that they become trapped in it. They don't understand the dynamic that when you begin to just dump like this, that there are going to be repercussions at some point because this is public. Now, there are things that I've done personally where I wanted to go in on G-Man. There's an entire series of videos. There's probably 15 videos that none of you have ever seen. And this is back when I lived in Maryland. This had to be like three and a half years ago. There's a series of videos. They were mean videos towards G-Man that you nor anyone else, especially G-Man, have never seen because I uploaded them and then deleted them. Because there is a certain point that you get to where that doesn't need to be made public. You just need to get it out. And then after you've gotten it out, you feel better. You're like, you know what? No one needs to see that. And again, none of you will ever see those videos because they're gone. They're deleted. But I've got them out. Next bourbon's on. Hey, thank you. Arizal says he was probably unwantingly proselytizing at work, and someone was like, read the God Delusion if you want to know why I don't accept your Bible. Yeah, that's probably what happened. Given some of his proclivities and his previous instances where he's gone up and just randomly chatted with a female coworker in his area recently, I could see him doing that. I had someone, even when I was in the Army, I had one of the contractors, and by the way, you're not supposed to do that. Contractors come up to me and start, oh man, it seems like there's a lot of natural disasters going on, huh? Yeah, there's a lot of birds and stuff dying. I was like, there have been die-offs of animals since they're humans. I mean, that's not, we have a tendency to just kind of wreck the environment. And natural disasters are natural disasters. They tend to do the same thing too. You take out a keystone species, ecosystem gets fucked for a while. But basically was my response. This guy had nerve. He had the audacity to come up to me with that bullshit. He was trying to redirect me to y'all have seen this guy before. I can never remember his name or his channel, but he's this kind of crazy, like, middle-aged white guy, and he's, there's stuff over here, and then you see there's the government controls this here, and then he has monitors everywhere, and he has a big screen, and then he's all in the camera, and he talks like this, and then you can see over here that we have this going on here over in the Balkans, and over here the United States is doing this, and he does all the, it's so dramatic. It's so much. Y'all probably know who I'm talking about. That crazy ass guy. He's a conspiracy nut, and he just goes off and just makes connections where there are none. And then he draws these conclusions from his ass, right? And so that's where this random contractor was getting his information from a nutter. And then, so I just very calmly, once I realized who he was talking about, because it took me a while, we had a few conversations, I went and searched, because he gave me the name of the channel, and I was like, this guy sounds familiar. And then I was like, I know who he's talking about. And sure enough, it was this guy. One of you probably knows who I'm talking about. He has a bunch of monitors. He's really close, and he's doing all this shit with the hands and all this, and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, this is where he was getting his information from. That guy's a nut, absolute fucking nut. But I asked him, hey, so this guy who's pointing out these natural disasters, does he have any background in epidemiology and ecology or any of these fields? Is he actually putting out research to show that there is a historical shift that is unprecedented? Because if you're saying like this is the first time this is happening, well, have we actually gone and looked at it? Have we looked at any data? It's not Alex Jones. This guy was way out before Alex Jones. Have you looked at any data at all? No. Well, it just seems like that. Well, I said, well, there have been natural disasters since before recorded human history. We can see that in geology. You do agree that natural disasters always happen. Yeah, but they're happening at a higher frequency. How do you know that? Well, it seems like they're happening more and more. Well, we have access in the last 50 something years, to a global network now where we are more aware of what happens, that doesn't mean that there's an actual increase in the instances of these events. So I'm not going to deny that things are happening, but the point that you're trying to get to me, or get across to me rather, is that you are saying that based on a historical record, based on the annals of the entire fucking world, there is now a deviation from what is the standard rate of these events. In order for you to establish that, we have to get that baseline. We have to see what that standard is and then compare it to now. And he agreed to that. So I said, okay, where's your data? Oh, I don't have any. So how do you know it's happening? Oh, well, it just seems that way. Based on what? And this guy hadn't even considered the fact that he was just believing what he wanted to believe. Like he intuited, you know what? That confirmation bias, you know what? I'm not about that life, you know? So I love it when I hear people use YouTube as a primary source of information, but they don't want to check anything. They don't want to go back and check just because it's somebody you like said something. Well, you know, he's been kind of right about this in the past. Well, cool. That especially if they've been right, you should check them. Even the shit that I say, take it with a grain of salt, go check it. That's why I bring receipts. But you want people to be less skeptical and just intuit the same things that you intuit with no data. Yeah, no.
Your supervisors wear a white shirt too, even though y'all are a higher level of career than I'm in. I don't need you to teach me anything. And the Bible says that about Christians. We have an understanding that no man should teach us because of the word of God.
Did y'all see that? Did y'all catch that? Did y'all catch that? I'm going to rant a little bit. I'm sorry, BB. Yes, I'm ranting too long in between pausing. Did y'all notice that? How many of y'all caught that? He's referencing a professional arena. His job, his actual job where he earns money. Where there are people in different departments and different echelons of whatever this organization is. And he is at a different area, different position, higher where he is, but his interlocutor, we'll call him that, as at a entirely different pay scale, but not higher up on the chain than he is. And so there's that weird comparison that he's drawing because he needs a leg up over this person who is obviously getting paid or compensated better than he is. Fine. Okay, that's not even pertinent to anything at all whatsoever. But did you see when he referenced being taught by this guy not being able to teach him anything, and that it relates to his religious teachings? Now, Mr. Cruz, I don't have to tell you that your religious practices and your professional life are entirely different things. You know what? What is this timestamp? I'm actually going to send that timestamp to my mother, who's worked HR for over 30 years. And again, this is my Christian mother. I'm going to send this to. See you later, dear. Mrs. D going to get her hair did. Come give me a kiss. Come here. Give me a kiss. You got the audacity to disrespect me live like this. You better give me a kiss. No, I will not calm down. The time of calming down is over. Okay. Bye. I would love to get my mother's input on this, because he is beyond reproach even at work. You can't meld together your religious beliefs and your obligations as an employee. It's not a surprise that you've not really progressed to wherever he is if you are beyond teaching. Because if y'all are part of an organization and y'all need to work together in order to accomplish the task, kind of being taught what to do is an implicit task in that effort. But as a Christian, let no man teach. That's interesting, Mr. Cruz. That is so interesting because that tells me a lot about you now. That tells me a whole lot about you. But you want to teach people. That's interesting. That's real interesting.
Because we didn't have the word of God in the beginning. God did all the miracles for a reason. There's a reason why he did them then and he ain't doing them today. But then again, he is doing miracles today. Wherever there is an outpouring of satanic influence, God is doing miracles. Wherever there is an understanding that God's will is being done in a certain place and time, even right now, God is performing miracles. God is doing great things. People are dying, okay, that will change history.
I don't believe you.
Their death will free a lot of people. Their death will liberate other people. That's an act of God. I hate to tell you that.
How stupid can this guy be?
When what's going on in Hollywood right now, even with Pope Francis, even though I don't agree with Pope Francis, he might be the Antichrist. He might be the son of perdition. I don't know. But one thing for sure, he did start cleaning house in the Catholic Church. That's going to liberate a lot of people.
Really?
But if you think that you can blaspheme God by saying that God does not exist and that he's a madman and that he's an idiot, did I hear an atheist say that an atheist should be allowed into the kingdom of God? Did I hear Francis say that atheists can find comfort in God?
Yes.
How are you going to find comfort in something you don't believe in?
Wait a minute. Hold on a minute.
Oh, I know how you find comfort in something you don't believe in. This is how you find comfort in something you don't believe in. Here it is right here. You were a criminal. You got arrested. And you find out that your life in jail, like a lot of people that have become Christian in jail, they wasn't Christian when they went in there. They was Christian when they came out. But just like a lot of people went into jail and became Christians, okay? You went to jail for a crime that you committed. And you thought your life was over. But then you went into jail and found Jesus.
What?
Yeah, that might get you into the kingdom. But until you have found the evidence that you're looking for, not only are you not a problem for me, not only are you not a problem for me and many, many Christians, okay, but your claim, like you love to tell us, your claim. See, I don't have a claim. I have a lifestyle. I have a culture. I don't have a claim.
Really?
Okay? It'd be claiming something if I was always saying that everything negative that happens to me, okay, is a blessing from God, and every blessing from God is negative.
Time out.
No. I live my life whether God heals me or not. I live my life whether God slays me, as Job said, or whether he gives me victory. My life in God is my life in God, and it's not up for argument. Okay? When I wake up every morning and realize that this asthma patient can breathe. Okay? And
really?
And the news I always get from my doctor is always worse than what I'm praying and always worse than what I'm believing. Okay? I know that God exists, because if God didn't exist, you wouldn't be watching this video. I wouldn't be making this video. There would not only be no such thing as an atheist, there would be no such thing as a Christian for an atheist to argue about if God did not exist. Because are you so idiotic that you don't understand that in this world, people are scavengers and supportive of what is feeding them and what is giving them air? You think that you can dehumanize people based on what they believe. But see, if what they believe doesn't kill the nation, doesn't knock on your door and shoot you and your wife and kids, if what they believe doesn't cause them to put a hex on you, so to speak,
how stupid can this guy be?
You know that there is a natural order, as Mr. Al Sharpton said today. A natural order of things that is done by an intelligent design, a being. There's something going on in the background. Ain't got nothing to do with no secular humanist nonsense. It's got more to do with you think you know, but you don't know.
I don't believe
you. Thought you was living and you was not living. You thought you was going to die, but you didn't die. You thought that this sickness would take you out of here and you wouldn't have to suffer no more. But no, it didn't. And you say you're not afraid of death. But like Mr. Hitchens said today, he has a lot of respect for these cults out here that believe in killing themselves and their own people.
Really?
But yeah, atheists kill themselves. What is the suicide rate for a Christian? 0 to 1?
Wait, what? That would mean that they're not.
Oh, maybe it's because we're so arrogant and we're so prideful and we're just arrogant SOB. That's why we never kill ourselves, according to Christopher Hitchens.
Christians don't kill themselves. Okay.
What part of science tells you, Mr. Hitchens, that you shouldn't smoke? You smoked all the way to your cancer bed. And you say, well, I believe in science and not all this religious stuff. Well, doesn't science tell your little atheist behind not to smoke? Oh, but science didn't give you the power to stop smoking.
I'm not, like, this is painful to listen to, folks. Like, that iguana looking motherfucker here is just, this is, like, yeah, the rate of a 0. Did y'all pick up on that too? I was like, well, hold on for a second. Like, if it's 0 to 1, that means that one of those parties isn't. There's nothing there. There's no occurrences. There's no instances of whatever it is that you're comparing for that ratio. Then that means. But then he actually said, yeah, why are there no Christians committing suicide? Which there's definitely Christians committing suicide. But wow, just wow. You have to wonder where, like, we all know that he's just making shit up. Like, this, we all know that. But, Jesus. Oh, my God. So Hitchens, being the human that he was, and just saying, fuck it, I'm going to live my life the way I want to. What does that have to do? So it's a weird indictment of science and not an indictment of Hitchens' lack of willpower for that particular addiction. Like, it's weird how he's trying to, like, does anybody, it's strange to me that he doesn't see that. Like, if you are going to indict science and say, you know what, science can't do this, science can't do that, science, oh yeah, we have to trust in science, yeah, fine, okay, cool, awesome. But then the example that you give is a human failure. What the fuck does that have to do? Like, because you acknowledge in this same illustration that, well, science is saying that you shouldn't do this, but just, I don't, like, wow. I see why whoever this wiry-haired white atheist dude, you know what, I'm just going to call him Neckbeard. Whoever the atheist Neckbeard is that's at this guy's job, who came across Mr. Cruz, probably said, this guy is going to be my lol's cow. I'm going to milk the fuck out of him because he is stupid. Whoever, because I see it now. He probably looked forward, whoever Neckbeard is, that we call Neckbeard McGee. Neckbeard McGee wakes up knowing that he makes more money than Mr. Cruz, and Mr. Cruz has a chip on his shoulder, an entire block on his shoulder, and is insecure about a number of things. And so he said, you know what? My day gets better seeing him angry, because he's not that well educated. He's not really knowledgeable on any of the topics that he speaks on, but he has a lot of lofty opinions about a lot of things. And so I will engage him just to get a laugh, just to see how far this well of ignorance actually is. Well, so Drag, how do you know that? I had a guy like that at my work. I didn't pursue him, though, because it was too easy. Some of you may have heard me talk about this guy back when I worked for Lowe's. Really young cat. He listened to a podcast from Ken Hovind that kind of lets you know his, yeah. He was the same guy that brought up the thing about the what he called carbon 14 dating being inaccurate because of the mammoth sample. One half of the mammoth was a different age than the front of the mammoth or some shit like that. And I asked him if he could tell me how radiometric dating works. He had no idea. I said, well, how do you... Because I ended up... I think I said carbon 12 or some shit like that. And I said that purposely just to see if he'd catch on to it. And I kept repeating it. And I said, that's not what they use, right? And that's carbon 12, that's okay. So just an interesting little game that I like to play with people who kind of purport to have debunked area like scientific techniques such as radiometric dating. Anyway, I was Neckbeard McGee to that Mr. Cruz there. And it was interesting because while I didn't pursue him, he would usually seek me because there is a guy that he actually worked with over in the garden center that he was a non-believer, but you could tell that this guy, this particular atheist was very fresh, very, 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 very. When I say fresh, he's still repeating like God delusion stuff. He's still referencing the zeitgeist. He's still referencing zeitgeist. That kind of fresh. If you guys don't know, when I say new atheist or neo-atheist or fresh atheist, that's the kind of shit that I'm talking about. Not looked into any actual science, not looked into any philosophy, not even really, read through any scripture. He hasn't found his angle. He hasn't found himself as far as him wanting to engage in counter-apologetics in a way. So it was interesting for me just to kind of sit and listen because I wouldn't engage them for the longest. And none of them knew my affiliation because I wouldn't say anything. I just sit and I listen to them talk. And then one day in the break room, I randomly interjected in the middle of the conversation and corrected my Mr. Cruz. And so he was just kind of taken aback. And so, oh, okay, you're a Christian? I said, no. So not at all. So actually, I have these discussions all the time on YouTube. And so he's like, oh, okay, yeah. You seem like a smart guy. Why don't you should talk to you should go to this website, Reasons to Believe. And there's a guy named Dr. Ross or something. You mean Hugh Ross? Yeah, I've spoken to him before. And Fuzz Rana. And he just complete hush mouth. Complete hush mouth. From the fact that
I stole $3,000.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Wilson. Please unpause him. His lazy eyes on set. Oh God. Oh God. I didn't because I'm looking over here at this screen. I didn't notice that. Okay. There we go. Is that better? I sped it up 10 frames, 10 seconds. I'm sorry. But yeah, I just randomly interjected because I don't feel the need to kind of be Neckbeard McGee. But I think Neckbeard McGee at his job probably said, I'm going to milk this fucking Lowe's cow because this is fun. It's not every day that you get the opportunity to do that. And you can say it's a dick move. It is. It's low-hanging fruit. He's definitely low-hanging fruit. Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind. But the type of vitriol that he spews, I think, deserves a bit of attention. A bit. So yeah, it's always interesting to encounter people like this in the workplace in real life and to kind of approach them from different angles. The guys that I speak to, the Baptist guys at my university, I treat them with kid gloves because they're really nice guys, really open. They give out free food. That's the easiest way for me to be nice, free food. And they genuinely do want people to come back to the church and to have what they feel is somewhat of a cure for all that ails you, a panacea of sorts. And the efficaciousness of this panacea is based on your faith, which I think is dangerous. It gives people false hope. So, Dragnauct in Somalia, a loader tried to convert us all and wanted to do a nightly Bible study. It didn't work. There were so many atheists and foxholes and tanks. Okay, yes. That's because tankers can't think abstractly, so they tend to be atheists. Aha! Gotcha. Ha! You didn't think I could make a tanker joke, did you? I did.
But I chose to set an example for my alcoholic friends to stay away from it. I'm Deroy Cruz, your life applications officer. Atheism is intolerable when you really think about it. Because without Christians, there are no atheists. There's only one reason why somebody would be an atheist. And that is because just the word alone, just the thought of it alone, is to rebel against someone that he thinks is higher and bigger than him. I'm just a man. I'm not higher or bigger than you or more important than you. I do have a better mind than you. And I do serve a bigger God than you serve. And I do have more morals than you do. Okay? My doo-doo, okay, is more moral, okay, than you going to bed at night. I mean, let's get real. You know what I'm saying? When you spend your life and everything you talk about, like your, like Christopher Hitchens. I watched 3 episodes of.
How? Wait, I'm not any better than you, but I have a bigger mind than you. I'm more moral than you. My feces. This guy literally said that his feces was better than a non-believer. His defecation, folks. He's not better than you, though. He's not. This is the shit that I'm talking about. Within minutes after it wasn't even minutes. I'm just a man. I'm just a man. But my feces, however, is better than you. His feces. His feces, folks. But I'm not supposed to say anything about that. I'm not supposed to mention that. I'm not supposed to comment on that because he is a better person than all of us. He is at the top of the food chain. His feces. His feces, folks. I love it. I absolutely love it. That is wonderful. He sure is very insecure about being challenged at work. Yeah, he must have gotten called out saying some very obviously false things. And you know what, Harrison? That's actually a good point. Because if you see how he reacted in his own videos while I review them, and he sees the things and he hears the things that he says, and then he looks in the chat because he's referenced looking at you guys in the chat typing things, and he's heard me kind of correct him on a number of points, and then he realizes just how stupid he looks and how stupid he sounds. Because he just contradicted himself. Absolutely contradicted himself. If I am no better than the next man, then why would I spend the next few minutes posturing and giving examples as to how I'm better than the next man? Like, that makes you can't hold both of those claims. It's amazing. It is so amazing. Part of me still empathizes with him. But this is sad. It's so sad. What do you want to bet that he has jars full of his morality around the house? I'm pretty sure he has probably locks of women's hair too. I don't know. That's why he's on the mass delete session with his channel. Yeah, I think so. I think it's definitely insecurity. Because this entire video just reeks, is laden with his insecurities. And it's really obvious to me. This was his way of lashing out against Neckbeard McGee at work. This is the problem. This is the problem. But you want me and other people to start saying some shit like that? My man, if I'm going to shit on somebody, no pun intended, I'm going to shit on them. I'm not going to go, we're all equal. Oh my God. at the end of the day, yes, we're all men and women. We put on our shoes and pants, one leg and one foot at a time. But there are demarcations between us. Huge demarcations in some cases. But man, don't lay on that false fucking humility and expect people to swallow it. And in the next breath, compare people to shit. Literal shit. Michael Whitman, WW2 German tanker, did some serious damage to Allied forces. He did. And he is the exception to the rule as a tanker. You're not going to get no respect from me I'm sorry. If you're a tanker, you're a tanker for a reason. Just saying, okay? Now, you know what? I've met some awesome tankers in my life, and it is nice that the military allows the mentally handicapped to have a role. Don't get me, I am gracious. I am thankful that the militaries around the world allow people who can't think that fast to join. It's a great thing. It is a wonderful thing.
2 or 3 atheists today claiming what's wrong with Christians, and they always go to homosexuality. So, this is the thing. You're not debunking us, you're debunking yourself. Because when you justify something, see, there's a fine line between justifying something, okay, and claiming somebody else is wrong for not justifying it. There's a fine line between justifying...
And yes, I will admit, I am mad that I had to drive the 113 and that my CO was a tanker.
...something and tolerating something. I tolerate homosexuals. And I tell you, a lot of these atheists that you know, go after Christians because ain't nobody talking about homosexuality, but they bring it up. Okay? These atheists will bring it up. Well, let me tell you something. Let's talk about homosexuality. Let me tell you something.
Every fucking video. Folks, we almost made it to the end. We were almost there. This is 1.5 times speed, by the way. We were almost there, folks. 6 minutes. 6 minutes, and this will be done. He could not last 6 minutes without talking about gay shit. We were so close. This would have been the video. He somewhat kind of referenced, but I was like, okay, well, we'll skip over that. Oh, that's the one. Look, I'm not trying to stop it at these screens. I'm not trying to do that. I'm dead serious. I'm not trying to do that. But I will take a screenshot. That is funny. Like, my God. He could not last the entire time without talking about gayness. That to me is amazing. That's amazing. It's just like he has this compulsion every single time. It's like, okay, maybe we could talk about his stuff at work. Maybe, okay, I can kind of sort of empathize with him. Okay, cool. No, we're going to talk about, it's not us to bring up the gay stuff, and I just granted everybody 50 points. It'll activate in a little while. But he could not last. And it's ironic he's talking about how much gayness is brought up. This conversation did not have to include anything about LGBTQAI++ minus ampersand. Nothing. You could have maintained this really weird stream of consciousness, whatever this is, without bringing up gay stuff. But I fear, folks, that we got so close. 6 minutes. So fucking close. I think every single video he does, he will mention something gay. I think so. We're going to see. We're going to see if we can break the streak.
How many of you atheists have shared a bed with a homosexual? How many of you atheists have grew up with homosexuals and you had that relationship with them to where they can be honest with you? And you got a homosexual friend over here and a homosexual friend over here and another one over here and another one over here. And you put their stories together. Kind of like putting the stories of Christians together and they start to match. Kind of like putting the stories of atheists together and it sounds like they're all up under the same theology. Like this is a cult. They're being taught how to be atheists.
What?
Homosexuals and atheists have one thing in common. They choose to make up their own morals at the expense of other people's unhappiness or victimization. I choose to follow God because it's not about atheism. I don't need an atheist to help me to be a Christian. You need a Christian to help you be an atheist, because without Christians there are no atheists. But I don't need an atheist to do anything for me or to show me anything. I choose to follow God because I don't agree with none of this world. The Bible said this world is not even our home. We're just passing through. We seek another world.
When I go to heaven, I'm going to be 6 feet tall. I'm not going to see no atheists. I'm going to have a wife that's not going to leave me. All of my children, I'm not going to even have children. I'm going to have spirit spawn. And these spirit spawn going to be straight as a ruler, straight as a yardstick. All of them. All of them going to look like me too. Going to be able to look in 2 directions at once.
A world where there is no sin. A world where the lion lays down with the lamb. A world where we turn our spears into plowshares. A world that is a cashless society. And I don't mean a credit card society. I mean a moneyless society where everything is based on love. Something that Christians enjoy every day. But you atheists, you homosexuals, only enjoy your physical gratification. You don't really know about the spiritual concepts of love. You have not experienced it. That's why instead of looking for someone to love, you look for somebody to hate. Instead of looking to justify those that deserve grace because they're trying hard to do the right thing, you choose the most likely to be the most sinful and to be in a total abomination according to nature before you even get to the Bible. You choose to justify that.
Y'all honestly think he knows about socialism? Come on now.
To the man that is being judged for a crime he didn't commit. You are intolerable. You can argue all you want to, but you will fill up my channel and you will fill up my comment section with your rhetoric because you know you are intolerable and you think you can hide behind the internet. But behind this screen right here that I'm looking through, you are a coward. You are. And I say that out of love. I do. I say that out of love. I'm Deroy Cruz, your life applications officer. No hard feelings here. I mean, just respect. I'm just telling you where I get off. Okay? And I'm fine with the fact that we are separate. And I'd like to keep it that way. I'm not trying to be you or trying to get you to be me. I'm just trying to get you to understand that you are not the authority over us and we don't need you. Okay? But you need a Christian to argue with in order to express your atheism because there's no spirit in it. Because without a Christian, it would be totally pointless to be an atheist. But do you need an atheist for a Christian to exist? I just recently found out about atheists, and I've been a Christian all my life. God bless you. Have a great night. Talk to you later.
Okay, so wow. Wow. So let me get this right. I don't even know where to begin. I just went and watched him at normal speed. I think you're underplaying how dumb this guy is, speeding him up. It's the only way to give him. Look, the only reason I sped it up is because folks were complaining that he talks way too slow. And I agree he does. I'm used to people talking that slow, so it doesn't bother me. But this video would take quite a bit. So, Jesus, that just so much there. Like, I've already, for the most part, said a lot of this shit that I need to say about him. Like, this is just painful. Absolute. Like, there are very few people that I think they're just abjectly fucking stupid. But I think that he is cognizant enough to know that his insecurities are on full display. He knows that. He's not unlike certain folks. Black Horse, yeah, I was Black Horse, yeah. Alpha Troop, by the way. He's cognizant enough to know that out of all the stuff that he professes, he still has quite a few issues. But no Christian claims to be perfect, and I don't think anyone actually expects that. But this is interesting. When we first started having video exchanges that weren't exchanges, where we were talking to each other, where we weren't talking to each other, I offered him the very first video, how about we just sit down and talk about life? Let's just have a chat. And I did offer that to him under amicable terms, very, very civil discourse, and he ignored it. I offered him again about 3 different times before he realized that the second video he made, he looked like a fool. And then he deleted everything because he was ashamed and admitted that he was ashamed. He understood that there is a huge gap between us on many different fronts. And so that came to the forefront, in which he acknowledged, which is fine. I really don't care. But he knows that he doesn't fare well when he's challenged directly. I think that his experiences in real life with Neckbeard McGee have shown him that he isn't in the right mindset. And to a degree, I will actually say that I respect that. And so, Drag, why do you respect that? There are certain folks who will get into some of these discussions and they're woefully underprepared. They don't really know what they're going to say. They don't know how to articulate what they want to say. And it just becomes a shit show because they get frustrated and they don't know how to kind of reel themselves back. They just get really excited about the things that they think. They have all these misconceptions about whoever they're talking to, about whatever they believe, and they just start vomiting at the mouth. And so you sit and listen to someone spewing strawman arguments and then someone trying to disabuse them of it, rather than 2 people simply trying to figure out what another believes and why. And I think that Mr. Cruz has kind of been on the receiving end of a verbal lashing, where Neckbeard McGee probably just laughed at him at a lot of because mind you, if he encountered me in real life and then I started hearing some of this stuff and then just employing the Socratic method, trying to figure out kind of how he substantiates a lot of the things that he says, and trying to get him to clarify a lot of these very vague references, it would become apparent that he just sort of makes shit up. And that it just seems to him that this is the way things are. This is reality to Deroy Cruz. And so he is telling you simply what he believes, not what he can actually demonstrate, because that's not a big issue for him at all. The Straw King would be perfect if he thinks that his scat is better than Sleeping Atheist. Yeah, I mean, that's my mustache is starting to really grow back and it's itching the fuck out of me right now. But it's apparent that that's kind of what's going on. But he knows not to put himself in that situation. A lot of people really don't know how to do that. A lot of people just, I'm just going to go do it. I'm just going to, and they turn into G-Man. They make a fool of themselves and they get mad. And so I understand Mr. Cruz kind of saying, you know what? Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. So, actually, yeah, let me address something. So Bruce, you and I have not spoken like one-on-one in years. If you want me to just open up a hangout where we just sit down and chat, Bruce, I'm perfectly fine with that. Because I am, like I said, I'm always open for a conversation, not a debate, just a simple conversation. If that's something that you would like, and I can actually open one up right now. If people just want to do that, I'm fine. I have been trying to get a hold of the NIFB guy, which I have been emailing him. There he is. Mr. Aaron Ford, he and I have been discussing. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Okay. I just had to reply to that email. Dragnauct, keep your shirt off and show him your tube of lube, and it'll be over. Yeah, I'll put a shirt on. I'm not too interested in debating people. And I've said before that debates happen between people of comparable knowledge on a topic, and they understand each other's points ahead of time, and they exchange those points so that the debate is framed around them responding to the points that they've already exchanged with one another, rather than people just sort of tossing back and forth ideas randomly. So that's kind of my thing, and that's why I rolled my eyes when I see, so and so debated so and so. It's like, no, you thought that you were going to ambush this person live with a piece of information they may or may not be familiar with, and so you're having to respond to something in the moment that no one's prepared for. So what exactly are people watching, right? It's not a cohesive talk, right? Because if I'm responding to what I think you're saying rather than what you are saying, then very few people are knowledgeable enough to be that flexible that they can just anticipate everything that you're going to say. That's why people who are engaging in an actual debate, they write down the points or they type up the points that they're going to make, and they send it to the other person. They say, oh, okay, that's what he's going. Okay, then I'll type something up. Here's where points I'm making. And so y'all will, when y'all have a Q&A or not Q&A, the one before the Q&A, when you have a back and forth, it's about those points. The only thing I wanted to address with that, the reasons you gave for being atheists were more so of generalizing and appealing to personal incredulity. Really, I don't think so. My personal credulity has very little to do with what I find to be insufficient evidence for a God claim, right? I think the video that I had made, I described a personal scenario because when we discuss faith being evidence, as described by any Christian, it is always something deeply, deeply rooted in this person's ability to see what they have not seen and experience what they have not experienced on a scale that is undeniable. And so instead of me going, I need a piece of physical God here as evidence, which I've heard atheists say something like that, I said, okay, let me put on my Christian hat and set up the same type of personal revelation scenario that I've literally heard from every other Christian, which the one that I'd offered was fairly mundane. But the only way that I offered that was because, well, there's really nothing else. Like, you either have that personal anecdote or you have something, as I guess an evidentialist would point out, this is evidence of God. Well, it's kind of hard that you have a supernatural entity interacting with the physical world and then showing the mechanism of action by which this did it, because if you could establish that, it wouldn't be supernatural. So, faith is not our evidence. Faith fulfilled is evidence. Well, so help me understand what that means. If I have faith that an event will happen, how is that evidence that an omnipotent deity actually manipulated anything in the universe to actually cause that, right? Because you can say that every time that I have prayed for this event to happen, and it has happened, there's something that coincides with one another. There's a correlation between these two events, but correlation does not equal causation. What I'm asking for any Christian is the causal link between those events and those scenarios. And that's something that no Christian can actually provide. Again, that's why I specified a mechanism of action. Because and I'll give you an example. Give me a link. Okay. I'm going to end this, and then let me just set it up right now. I'll put the link here. Because I think that'll be easier. That will be easier. If this thing will load. There we go. Alright, setting it up. I'm just going to put the link in the chat. I hate how long this thing takes. Okay, finally. Jesus. Alright. There's a link. Alright. Alright, folks, I'm going to end this.